everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hi if you're new, and welcome to my June reading wrap up where I had a really good reading month. Most books were like 4 or 5 stars and it was great. So I apologise I didn't get this video up last week. Life happened, but I was determined to film regular wrap ups this year, so I'm not going to miss June. We're going to do it now. So the first one I read, The Atlas Paradox by Oliver Blake. This was a 5-star anticipated, and you know what? It was really, really good. It was a 4 out of 5 star for me, but I had a really good time with it still. So this is the sequel to the Atlas 6, and in that book we join 6 students who are competing for a place at the Alexandrian Society. They've all got their own magical gifts. Do you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but basically they can't all join the society. And the last book was left on such a cliffhanger, and I was really, really excited to read this, and it was really good. Okay, as I said, it was a 4 out of 5 star. For me, I really wanted to learn more about the society itself. I was really hoping that, yes, we would definitely deal with the cliffhanger on the last one, of course, but this whole book was dedicated to that. I was hoping we would kind of deal with that in the first half a dozen chapters, and then we would go into finding out about them in the society and more about that. And yes, there were elements of that. I just wanted more. But I'm hoping that more is going to come in book 3. But it was really, really good. Beginner fantasy readers, I think this is a really good place to start. So that was a really good start to the month. Then it continued, and this next book took me by surprise because I'll be honest, I bought it thinking I'm not going to like it. Duke is being very distracted. He's got his tennis ball caught under the guitar every time. What have you done? How many balls have you got? But you want this specific one that's under the guitar, don't you? Every time I'm filming, you decide to be a pickle. He decides to be a pickle. So if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that often I do my sit-down videos in front of the TV with a fireplace background. And every time Duke decides we're going to play ball now. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to film in front of my bookshelves in the dining room with a table with a pile of books beside me, not awkwardly on the floor. But anyway, Duke has got himself involved. Where was I? The next book took me by surprise. Didn't expect to like it. And that's The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I really was thrown by this. I got so sucked into this so quickly, and I need to continue this series. So we join Jude and her sisters. They're humans-ish, and they're brought up in the fairy world. And basically they're not treated brilliantly by the fairy folk because they're human, and they get basically bullied. And Jude is like, no, do you know what? I'm not having this. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to get on this fairy world and I'm going to kick ass. And she does that, and she's awesome. What a risk taker. I loved it. There's betrayal, there's drama. It's so fast paced. For a YA, I was sucked in. It was great. And basically there's a kind of a love interest in this. Well, there is a love interest, but it's not a romance, but it's a feature, which is a feature that I'm hoping may be developed in the future books. I don't know, but for me, 4 out of 5 stars. Really, really enjoyed this. When I sat down to read it, I binged it, and I just wasn't expecting it. So it was good. It was good. Then, In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. Oh my goodness, did I want to love this. I wanted to love this so much. Okay, this was a 5-star anticipated. I was so excited to get this book and start reading it. And it was a 3 out of 5 star. And it was a good book. It was a good book. I can't remember the characters' names. I apologise. But basically we join, Victor, who's a human who lives with 3 robots. 2 of the robots, and it was Nurse Ratchet and, oh my goodness, what was the name of the little vacuum? I need to find out the name of the little vacuum. Wait one. Rambo! That was it. They made it. Their interaction probably was 1 or 2 stars out of 3 stars alone. They were so funny. But basically, Victor, Nurse Ratched and Rambo, they come across an extra robot. That spurs a massive drama where they actually have to then go and on this massive adventure into the city to retrieve one of their family members, basically, and save the day. The story itself is a really nice concept. It's really sweet. It's warm fuzzy on the whole family notion here, the importance of family being, you know, key to everything. I love that element. Of course I did. The storyline itself was fine. It was fine. The characters, it was 50-50. So yes, I love the 2 robots. The rest of the characters, I didn't maybe connect with them like I was hoping that I would. With the other books I've read by TJ Klune, they have been really emotional. I've got so deeply invested in the story, whereas here there was definitely something missing, and it was disappointing. It was still a good book, but for me it just didn't do it, which was such a shame. And then I read a book on my Kindle, and I read the second book in the How to Be Dead series by Dave Turner, and it was called Papercuts, and this one was actually vampire based, which was quite unexpected. But we joined Dave, who ends up working for Death. The writing style, though, is the same style as Douglas Adams and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And there actually, so I had quite a few laugh out loud moments in the first book, particularly more so, but also in the second book. And I am definitely going to continue this series. I know I've got at least a third one on my Kindle. It was quite funny. We've even met four horsemen of the apocalypse. They seem like a bit of a scream to hang out with, actually, in this book. Death seems like a right character, with a fondness for biscuits. Would definitely recommend the series, and they're not too long. I think each book's only about 200 odd pages anyway, so it's a quick read, but it is a funny read. So I enjoyed that. That was a 4 out of 5 star for that one. Then we have a 5 out of 5 star. I knew it was going to be Skandar and the Phantom Rider. This is the second book in the series. I read Skandar and the Unicorn Thief last year. Absolutely loved it. This, just as brilliant, okay? Really, really was. It's a middle grade, but heading towards YA, okay? But basically, in the first book, we join Skandar, who is on this mission, basically, to become a unicorn rider. He uncovers some family drama. He has to deal with maybe not fitting in so much with the others there. There's a lot of conflict. It's so fast paced, and this one as well. This one didn't drop the ball at all from the first one. It just had me captivated. I absolutely loved it. If you love unicorns and you love drama, definitely. The friendship in this was great. All the characters' own self-development was great. The storyline was just, it was good. There were curveballs thrown out all the time. I couldn't predict where everything was going, which I love. And sometimes in a middle grade, although it's nice, you know what's going to happen next. It's very predictable. I didn't have that in this, and this was just a really good time. So definitely would recommend this series. Then what did I read? Yeah, okay. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I really wanted to love this. However, there was something missing. I liked the fighting to be the champion element. Selena, absolutely kick-ass. Thought she was great. And basically she's in this tournament to become the king's assassin. And she's up against all these absolute hard morons. I was going to say a rather rude word then. But anyway, there's like a bit of a love triangle at one point that goes on. I would have liked a little bit more of the romance in it, but I don't think that that's what this series wants to focus on. I think this is just a fantasy series, and the romance is in there just as a little sideline. I enjoyed this up until the magical ghosty elements. Okay, and then for me, it just lost something. I became a little detached from the story. I thought it wasn't really necessary. Let's just have her kicking ass to become the king's assassin. That'll do. I don't need all these extra little side plots. It's and monsters and things. But I know some people love that element, so that's great. I will continue the series. As I said, it was a 3 out of 5 star for me, so I'm not going to rush to pick it up. If it does pick up, please let me know, okay? Or if this is like one of the best books, I kind of like to be advised as well, to be honest. It was fine. It was still a good time, but it was fine as opposed to great. What did I read then? Then another curveball, Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I really enjoyed this. This was on the vein for me with The Cruel Prince, where I didn't think I was going to like it. But I did, and I now need to continue to Lunar Chronicles. So we join Cinder, who is a mechanic, but kind of a cyborg. And there's like alien species in here as well. It's kind of a retelling of Cinderella, obviously, with you've got the stepsisters and the evil stepmom, things like that. But no, that's like a little bit of the story. We've got this real nasty virus that's going around. We've got just constant curveballs with this one. And again, I didn't see any of it coming at all. I really would recommend, to be honest. We see her again, really kind of a character discovering who she is and not going to be held down. Going to do what's right for her. And I love that. I love that in a book. It's great. Then I read the next book on my Kindle and audiobook as well. For me, I should have just read it on my Kindle because I think it came down a point or two because I listened to it on audiobook. And when you're reading a fantasy, I think it helps sometimes to have, particularly if it's the first book and you're learning about the world, it helps to have a physical copy that you can kind of easily flick back to. But this was The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by S.A. Chakrabarti. And it was good. It was still a 4 out of 5 star because I love the concept of it. You've got this retired female pirate who's, you know, at home. She's not particularly well off, but her daughter's safe and she's okay. And then somebody turns up, offers her a lot of money to get back in the game, rescue somebody, and with the money involved, she's a bit tempted. And you see her sort of going back to get her old crew together. You find out about past relationships, past things that she's tackled. There's monsters, there's fight scenes. It's very fast paced, it's very action packed. But I think if I'd have actually just read it physically, it might have been a 5 out of 5 star. So that might be one book in the future I do actually pick up a physical copy and reread. But it was still very good. And I don't remember reading another pirate fantasy before, and it was just very different, but it was a very good time. Very humorous. The interactions between Amina and her crewmates and things, it was just funny. It was really good. Even like serious situations, it's like, you know, you've got a bunch of mates and you're trying to be serious and then you just keep making catty comments and things like that at each other. It was like that level, and I really like that. We have 2 more books. So next, Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I really enjoyed this. This is a strong 4 out of 5 star for me. I wish it was longer. That could have kept going for another couple hundred pages and I think I would have been very, very happy. So this basically, we join different people in different time periods and you want to see how they all link together. There's a time traveling element basically. But what I loved about this book is it really made me think. And there were points that were raised in here that I actually ended up chatting to my partner about. I even asked a lot of our staff a question in our staff group on something that happened in here. Sort of, you know, if this was going to be a situation, would you go back and intervene and change time? Or would you just let fate do what it's got to do? You know, would I potentially want to live like on a moon colony where it's all temperature controlled? Or do I want to live in a world where 1 minute I'm moaning because I'm too hot, next minute I'm too cold? It was just one of those books that makes you think, and you think about it long after you've read it. And I love that. So I need to look out for my own copy because it's my library copy. But it was really, really good. Then, last but not least, Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. So what I loved about this is the main character wasn't a hero, as it indicates on the front. Only a monster can kill a hero. And we join, what is her name? What's her name? Joan. And she basically finds out that she comes from a family of monsters. She thought she was a normal human. She was happy with that knowledge. She doesn't want to be a monster because there's an element that comes with these monsters which isn't particularly nice to humans. And she doesn't want to do that. And it just so happens that actually the person that is going to try and stop the monsters, she's got a bit of a thing for. It was predictable, but it was a good time. There was time traveling in this as well, which I liked. There was a lot of drama. There was, you know, this magical element in there as well. I definitely will read the second one in the series. For me, it just, I mean, yeah, it was a 3 out of 5 star. And I read it in 2 days. It was, you know, it was quite, I got sucked into the story. But maybe I didn't have the attachment to the characters that I personally really, really need in a book. I said it was a bit predictable as well. But it was still an enjoyable time reading it. So, yeah, as I said, I'm going to read the sequel. It was that good. But that is my June wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of those books. If you have, if you agree with any of my ratings, or if you think, Sophie, you totally missed that. It was absolutely pants. I don't know why you loved it, or actually it was really, really good. I don't know why you only gave it a 3 star. For me, the lowest rating was a 3 out of 5 star for a month. So that's a win. That's a win reading wise. And I had a great time with those books. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I will see you in my next video. Have a great week.